I went on to consult in foreign governments about national education plans. The most recent was I went to a Helsinki design lab where we worked on reinventing the education of Finland, which is a huge honor because they have the highest test scores in the world, but they tend to do things in a very scripted way without the creativity and entrepreneurship. I also work with people in China on schools, and because, again, they've got it down for getting kids to memorize, but they don't have the more entrepreneurial kind of thinking that I actually grew up with. I really feel strongly about kids having freedom to explore instead of just having play dates and everything structured. So I'm hoping kids get more outdoor time, more safe places that they can roam and don't, I mean, I would not let my children out of my sight. And I understand that, but I had a farm to roam on. Many of you might be old enough that you grew up where you could, you know, get on your bike and drive 2 miles without somebody watching you. Anyway, that was fun in Helsinki. I helped launch a school in China. I'm still the head of school of a school in China. I'm sort of virtual head of school because I'm here. But I work with people. I'm on the board of a couple schools. And they're all, this one including, that's in the picture, it's called Synapse. It's just finished its first year in this location, which used to be the Intuit office that does QuickBooks and Quicken. What they do is have, the entire school does a project like Leonardo da Vinci. And the library is important, as you can imagine, because they have things at every age level to look at the inventions Da Vinci made and his art. They make Mona Lisa t-shirts, and everything turns around a theme. I've consulted, I think I already said, to Microsoft. I did a project for Bill Gates. I worked for years for Apple. I helped with the development of what became Squeak at MIT. And I worked at Gravity, KidSource, Togetherville, and a whole lot of other companies. I'm consulting now to app development for a couple companies, as well as a new one that I'll tell you at the end. My partner, Karen, helped Greg Mortensen, who's in trouble right now, I think wrongly, start 200 schools in Pakistan and Afghanistan. That's one of the schools. It's made of sticks and twigs that are made locally. The village owns the school. And she's featured in his book, 3 Cups of Tea. The little girls go to school and the boys don't have to go to Taliban schools. This is one of my offices. I was there for 3 years. It's right on the Pacific Ocean. And someone from Japan said, I like to think of your little charrette on the other side of the ocean. You could look out. My office was up on the upper level of that. You could see the whales jumping from there. I plan to get that office back next time I'm funded. I got NSF grants in National Science Foundation, U.S. Department of Education. I was funded by Mordavidow, Greylock, Viacom, Singapore. Singapore wanted to have these buildings built on their island. And I made something called Half Moon Bay Farm and The Hood, both of which are demos. The Hood is for urban illiterate teens who are reading at a preschool level. And it's never been funded to carry it all the way out, but I'm still hoping to do that because it's possible to make something totally engaging that has rap music and things that the kids enjoy and that are comfortable to them. I mentor students. I have students that have gone on to MIT, Stanford, and UC. They grew up to be head of development at the Blogger Group at Google, worked for Jim Henson, reported to George Lucas at AWElearning. One of them was head of lead designer for The Sims at Electronic Arts, the latest add-on pack. This one, no, he didn't work at DreamWorks, but he was an Apple guy. Anyway, I have a lot of kids that I help when they're young, and then they grow up to these positions. It's really fun to go to their parties at Stanford. One teaches entrepreneurship at Stanford. He's a professor. I also tutor kids. This is the work of one of the founders of Google, has a little girl that I worked with. And a lot of people bring their kids just for enrichment. And I also work with kids with Down syndrome, brain cancer, ADD, a range of problems. So I enjoy playing with the kids, being with the kids one-on-one and getting to know them. We also have tea parties. This one wanted to have her birthday party at my house, so she did. And we had tea. She poured tea. And I had just been to China, so she did it in a Chinese fashion. I've grown up with only a daughter, and so I learn about boys through tutoring them. And together with my partner Karen, who started Synapse School and also the Nueva School, we started Learning Friends. And our purpose is to create a next generation company, which I really hope to do with AWE, the more I learn about them. Some of the features we have is there's alpha pets that creep out of a honeycomb keypad. They are gremlins who must be hunted down, and all the kids learn to read and write. That keyboard is very interesting. You probably can't see it very well, but across the center of it, it has with, it, he, her, the, their, here, wit, and whither, all in one line. 6 words are 40% of all English text. If you analyze 3 million pages of text, which Edward Montgomery at the University of Texas did. And we'll use this as an alternate input device, and it'll work remotely for TV, and people can type 250 words a minute on it, and you can learn to be basically functional with it in 15 minutes. I've never been able to convince anybody to do it, but now I'm calling it a phonics learning device, not a keyboard, because people want the standard keyboard. Both the Apple Fellows thought that should be the main keyboard at Apple. And so I hope we develop that for your kids soon. There's a Macromedia fellow named young Harville who knew that for years I wanted to do math programs for kids. I spent 8 years making a sequence that went from counting to calculus. And he said, I'll build it for you during my sabbatical. So I told the Hewlett Foundation, who I'd just done a demo for, I can't go through your procedure, I want you to just give me a grant. And I asked them on Saturday, and they funded it on Sunday. And if any of you have gotten grants, you know this is not how it works at all. It's more like 9 months and waiting and lots of competition and answering questions. They just said, write up what you want to do in the next couple days, so I did, and they gave me enough money to work with young Harville. And there's young, I had a workshop for all the developers, and we pretended we were 4 years old, 5 years old, and 6 years old, each for an hour. And we thought how kids think, feel, and act at those ages. I made a museum of the child for each age level with favorite classic and new books, toys, videos, programs, and then anybody could get that out to get in the mind of the child. And he's jumping rope because he's pretending he's 6. They remember that, and the group has a sense of being that age. Most companies don't do that, where they really care what it's like to be those ages. This is Miranda Dragon. She's the hero of a program called Mirandas Math, and right now there's just one little program. It's on the Hewlett Foundation site and on the Learning Company site. Unfortunately, it's in a slightly older operating system, so it's hard to use it, but it'll probably soon come out as an app because there's some app developers that have offered to do that.